All right, just so you know, just so your audience knows. When next time your buddy tells you he's a Golden Glove boxer, you can say you're full of and Guy Mezger says so.
Lots of talkers, man, especially on those lower Greenville nightclubs.
Yeah, well, that was, believe me, I walked through more of those guys than they know what to do with, and
walked through them.
You know, it was it was a time that I didn't necessarily, like today, you
weren't walking away from certain situations that you would walk away from now.
I don't lean into trouble. I don't lean into trouble anymore. But back then, I would lean into trouble. I would never really start the trouble, but if I saw it coming, I didn't necessarily lean out of the way, into it. Sometimes I leaned into it depending on what the circumstances was. Like especially if I perceived that there was a bully situation. I'm 54 years old and I still interfere. I still get, like last year I had an incident because these guys were picking on my favorite car inspection guys.
Really?
Yeah, it was a long story, but just basically two clowns giving a couple of these little tire shop on the corner of Lemon and Northwest Highway over there,
Yeah, that's you were going to say Arapahoe and Custer because that's right by your gym and that's where I go.
Yeah, and so
I know the Lemon Northwest.
Yeah,
Highway
it's a little eyesore place, but they're hardworking guys there and they do stuff. And so I started going to them about 8 years ago because at the last minute I need to get an inspection. They did it for me on the very last sec. They were closing. Okay, we'll do it for you. And so I was like, so I just go and do it every time there just because they're nice guys. And then so I was there last year and the guy was, these two guys were being extremely disrespectful. Now they're Mexican guys there, and they're about, seriously, the about tallest one is 5'5". They're like little guys, and they're great guys, right? And stuff, and so these guys were being clowns, and I just couldn't take it, so I went and said something about it, and one of them took a swing at me, and it didn't turn out good for him, and I'll be honest, I antagonized the situation. I didn't necessarily have to do that. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I can't stand bullies. And even at my age, and I can still do something about it even at my age. And so, there's not going to be any bullies on my watch.
That's awesome, man.
And so that we do that. And like my wife generally gives me a hard time about it, but she understands. Actually, it's funny because as much as she gets frustrated with me because I'll do that, she'll be like, I understand why you did it,
Well, I think that so you have to say everything this way now, right? The people who I most respect, you can't make generalities anymore. You can't just talk like you're a normal person.
Yeah,
but women are attracted to protectors.
I think so.
People who can handle business, to people who don't back down, and to people who would, walk through a bully if there was a bully. That is something that's very attractive. That's super attractive. That's something that you would probably be classified by much of the woke culture today as the embodiment of toxic masculinity. You work at a gym. You help people optimize. You were and still are a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All the things you are what, from my point of view, come under attack pretty often when I don't watch the fucking news anymore. I haven't for almost 2 years now, have not watched the news. Since the cold came out, and I knew, you could tell it was all bull. It's just ridiculous. But that's who, I don't know what's behind it. I don't know if people actually even think this way. Because when I talk to someone who says to me, well, you're just a construction guy, and you're this, I'm just like, dude, I cry more than almost anybody probably. I meditate, I read, I do all this shit, and I do that just so that I don't implode. But you're made a certain way. You're put on this earth to do a certain thing. It's the same way you have breeds of dogs. You got working dogs, hunting dogs, protection dogs.
Believer. I'm a believer that God put me on this earth to help the people who can't help themselves.
Yeah.
Because I know in my own personal life, there were times when I couldn't take care of things, you know what I mean? And I was desperate, and we had somebody that would step up and help me out. And you know, the thing about it as a kid too, I was less. I'm embarrassed by saying this, but you know, I'm going to embarrass myself. Is that I focus more on all the shit I didn't have in life, that I was not really appreciative for all the things I did have, that great things in life. And it wasn't really until I got older that I realized how fucking amazing my life has been.
Is that one of the reasons why you focus on that so much when you
Absolutely.
make social media posts? Is because it helps you, but also because you're like, yo, y'all, if you would quit focusing on the BS and start focusing on the gold, your life would get a lot brighter, a lot faster.
Well, I'd like to spare people, especially the younger generation, you know, the same bull that I went through. You know what I mean? And so some people will listen, some people won't, and they'll be okay. The ones who do, the ones who don't, you know, eventually that they'll see that I'm generally probably right, and they'll probably like, you know, a couple of 2 years, oh man, I should listen to the guy back then. And you know, mainly because I know more about, like I said, the reason I'm good at this stuff is that I f***ed up most of my life. I mean, what people see is my successes. They see that I have been the champ and that I have done all sorts of crazy stuff. And I've walked away from some crazy shit, and, you know, a lot of people, you know, wouldn't walk away from, and, you know, and stuff like this. You know, my wisdom comes from a lot of hard-earned problems that I caused, mostly for myself.
Yeah, but I think that there's something in you, because your medical practice, to me, displays this as well. Your coaching, your medical practice, there's something very deep in you about don't with the people I love, don't bully people. But there's something there about helping people. Yeah. I reached out to you when I was going through a very difficult time, and you were very helpful to me, and you followed up, and that meant a lot to me, and that helped me a lot. But you know, there's something there that you know, I was drawn to, because I like to help people too. Yeah. And what I feel like I can help people most with is, hey, this has actually happened to me, and I was able to get through it because I did this and this. You should try this. This helps. Is that part of what drew your focus toward the medical practice, toward getting your PhD, toward figuring out how to enhance and optimize? I believe it is our responsibility to take care of our fellow man. I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of this, you know, let them suffer, let them drag kind of stuff. I'm not a fan of that. I believe that, you know, we have an opportunity to help our fellow man, and that person that you help, you don't know what that is. Like, I will never be known as a great man. Okay. And I'm okay with that. All right. I mean, it's not like I lose sleep and go, oh my gosh, I'm such a loser. Well, who's making that decision? And well, okay. I think in my own life, I just look at my examples through life is that, yeah, I've done some pretty cool stuff, but I'm not a great man, and I won't be considered a great man. But I do believe that I have the power to help create a great man. Hey, what's up? Thanks for checking out my clips here on YouTube. You can also check out other clips on Instagram and TikTok at Jess from the Northwest. I've also got a ton of other great content here on the YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys down the road.